One may leap to heaven even from the very slums. Remember that the gods, when they were kind to men, were molded in clay. Can we emulate the mind of God? Can we come closer to a state of mind that is aligned with the divine? A mind that is clear, focused, and at peace. A mind that is not swayed by the opinions of others or the changing tides of fortune, and is instead rooted in a profound understanding of the self and the world. The Stoics seem to think that we can, but not without perseverance, dedication, and a willingness to confront our deepest fears and flaws, be they imposed, observed, or taken. That's too small a price for something that doesn't deteriorate over time, the mind of a god. But to transcend the limitations of our human condition and to connect with something greater than ourselves, whether we see it as the mind of God or the realization of our highest potential as human beings, the journey is a difficult one. And it starts with understanding why the only understanding that matters is ours, a consistent one gained by throwing out the opinions of others. So, let's start there. You will be a wise man if you shut your ears, but simply covering your ears, like Ulysses did for his crew with wax, will not suffice. The allurements you face are far more pervasive, more insidious, and more persistent than the Siren Song that Ulysses feared. That deadly melody came from one isolated place, a single dangerous headland, but the song that threatens you echoes from every corner of the world, from every city, from every person you encounter. It is a siren call of societal expectations, material wealth, and superficial success, luring you into a life of distraction, indulgence, and ultimately, dissatisfaction. Therefore, it is not enough to simply avoid one or two places or people who might tempt you with these false delights. You must sail past every city, every temptation, every whisper of the world that tries to draw you away from the path of wisdom and true happiness. You must be deaf to these temptations, no matter how well-intentioned they may seem. Even those who love you most, your family, your closest friends, may unknowingly pray for things that are not in your best interest. They may wish for you wealth, fame, or power, thinking these are the keys to happiness. But in truth, these are often the very things that can lead you astray. If you truly wish to be happy, you must even go so far as to ask the gods that none of these desires, however lovingly or earnestly prayed for on your behalf, may ever come to pass. For what the world and your loved ones often wish for you are not the true goods of life. They may wish for you ease, luxury, and abundance, but these are not the things that lead to a fulfilled and happy life. There is only one true good that can provide the foundation and support for a life of happiness: trust in oneself. But it is not as simple as to simply trust what comes to mind, for what comes to the mind from the opinions and morphed understanding of others simply can't be trusted. In fact, this profound self-trust cannot be achieved unless you have learned to think nothing of toil and hardship. You must come to view these challenges not as burdens to be avoided, but as neutral aspects of life, neither inherently good nor bad. Toil is simply a part of existence, and once you learn to accept it, to embrace it as a natural and unavoidable part of life, you free yourself from the fear of difficulty and discomfort. When you can see toil and hardship as neither good nor bad, but simply as part of the human experience, you become truly resilient. You are no longer swayed by the promise of ease or the fear of effort. You can maintain your course through life, unswayed by the siren calls of comfort, luxury, and superficial success, because you know that true happiness comes from within, from the strength and trust you have cultivated in yourself. So, Close your ears to the distracting and tempting voices around you, no matter how close or well-meaning they may be, and learn how to see toil as nothing. Hard work in itself is not inherently good or bad. It's not something that can be defined by a single quality, because its value does not lie in the work itself, but in how we perceive and approach it. Work cannot be both a burden at one time and a virtue at another. Its nature does not change depending on how we feel about it. So, what truly makes something good? It is not the labor itself, but our attitude towards it, our ability to treat hard work as nothing, to endure it without complaint or dread. The real good is found in not minding the work, in approaching our tasks with a mindset that sees them as necessary and therefore not burdensome. This is why we should critique those who toil aimlessly, without purpose or direction. When someone exhausts themselves in pursuits that lead nowhere, their efforts are wasted and the toil becomes pointless suffering. But when a person dedicates themselves to noble and honorable goals, their hard work takes on a different character. The more they strive towards these goals, the more they push themselves to rise above challenges, the more we should admire and encourage them. Their effort is no longer just toil. It is a testament to their strength of character and their commitment to something greater than themselves. Imagine someone struggling up a steep hill, exhausted but determined to reach the top. As they climb, they face every obstacle with perseverance, refusing to be beaten down or to stop. We would naturally want to encourage such a person, to cheer them on, saying, "You're doing great, keep going, take a deep breath and push forward, you're almost there." So, what exactly is work? What is toil? For those with noble minds, it is nothing more than the sustenance that feeds their virtue and character. Hard work is not to be feared or avoided, but embraced as a natural part of striving for greatness. True happiness, then, comes from within, from the realization that hard work, when aligned with virtue, is not a burden, but a blessing. When we understand that anything intertwined with virtue is good, and anything associated with vice is bad, we can approach our efforts with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Just as light gives brilliance to what it touches, and darkness casts a shadow over what it envelops, the qualities of virtue and vice define the nature of our work. Work that is intertwined with virtue shines brightly. It is meaningful, purposeful, and worthy of admiration. In contrast, work that is tainted by vice becomes a source of dread and weariness, draining our spirit rather than uplifting it. Consider how nothing can truly shine without light, how nothing can be hot without the presence of fire, or cold without the touch of air. In the same way, our actions, our efforts, our work become honorable or base, good or evil, depending on whether they are aligned with virtue or vice. It is not the work itself that determines its value, but the spirit in which it is undertaken. So, treat hard work as nothing more than a means to an end, a tool for cultivating virtue and achieving greatness, for cultivating the real good. To truly grasp the essence of what is good, we must first understand what makes something good. The foundation of all that is good lies in the knowledge of things, both the material and the immaterial, the human and the divine. Knowledge enlightens us, guiding our decisions and actions, enabling us to live in harmony with virtue. On the other hand, to understand what is evil, we must recognize that it stems from the absence of knowledge, from ignorance and misunderstanding. This lack of understanding leads to actions that stray from virtue, resulting in harm and suffering. For virtue, the only true good, to be perfect, it must be accompanied by a temperament that is balanced and a way of life that is consistent and coherent in all its parts. This ideal state of being can only be achieved through deep knowledge that allows us to comprehend the full spectrum of existence, from the human to the divine. Such knowledge is not just an intellectual pursuit, it is the greatest good because it connects us to the ultimate truth. By embracing this good, we elevate ourselves to a level where we become associates of the gods rather than mere supplicants. But before we look to the divine, let us consider the wise man who, like the gods, is a master craftsman of life. The wise man navigates the world with discernment, choosing or rejecting each circumstance as it suits the occasion. However, his decisions are not driven by fear or admiration. He does not fear what he rejects, nor does he become enamored with what he chooses. His soul is stout and unconquerable, unshaken by the trials of life. The wise man does not merely endure work, he seeks it out, understanding that meaningful work is a path to virtue. You might ask, but isn't some work trifling, superfluous, or driven by ignoble causes? Isn't such work bad? The answer is no. The nature of the work itself is less important than the spirit in which it is undertaken. The quality of enduring toil, of rising to meet hard and uphill challenges, reflects a strong spirit. This spirit challenges us, saying, "Why do you hesitate? It is not the part of a man to fear hard work or sweat." The wise man knows that the value of his work is not in the work itself, but in the knowledge and virtue that underpin it. This understanding is a prerequisite for meaningful work. He doesn't dwell on the nature of his tasks, but focuses on the journey of the mind and soul, a journey that brings him closer to the divine and grants him a godlike potential of the mind. This journey is different from the physical or material journey his work might take him on. It is a more pleasant, safe, and fulfilling journey, one for which nature has equipped him adequately. Like the wise man, we too have been gifted by nature with the potential to rise to a godlike state. But how do we ensure we do not fail these gifts? The answer lies in understanding that worldly possessions, status, and superficial qualities cannot elevate us to the level of the divine. Our money will not bring us closer to godliness, for God has no need for property. Our fine clothes and outward appearances are meaningless, for God is not adorned in earthly garments. Reputation, fame, and widespread recognition hold no value, for even God is not universally revered, and yet remains unchanged by others' perceptions. Neither beauty nor physical strength can make us blessed, for these qualities inevitably fade with time and cannot withstand the ravages of age. What then should we seek? We must strive for that which does not diminish over time, that which remains impervious to external forces. And what is this enduring good? It is the soul, an unblemished one, and specifically a soul that is upright, virtuous, and great. Such a soul, one that is guided by a sound mind, is steadfast in its goodness and wisdom, and is nothing less than a God dwelling within a human body. This divine soul is not confined to any one class or status. It can reside within the soldier, the aristocrat's son, or the humble working man alike. For in the grand scheme of things, titles and social standings are mere labels, born of ambition and ignorance. They do not define the true worth of a person. One may leap to heaven even from the very slums. Remember that the gods, when they were kind to men, were molded in clay. This is a powerful reminder that greatness of soul is accessible to all, regardless of one's birth or circumstances. It is through the cultivation of knowledge, virtue, and an indomitable spirit that we rise to our highest potential, joining the ranks of the wise and the divine. The journey toward attaining a mind that mirrors the divine, or to realizing the fullest potential of the human mind, begins with a significant internal shift. This path requires us to cast aside the opinions and judgments that others hold about us and our lives. Whether these opinions pertain to our actions, our choices, or our life's work, they must be discarded if we are to reach a higher understanding. These external perspectives often cloud our judgment, diverting us from our true purpose and preventing us from cultivating the inner clarity necessary for spiritual and intellectual growth. By freeing ourselves from the weight of others' expectations and opinions, we liberate our minds to engage with the world in a more profound and meaningful way. We begin to see the world not through the distorted lens of societal norms and pressures, but through the clear, untainted perspective of truth. This renewed understanding allows us to recognize the true value of everything the world offers, not based on superficial judgments, but on deeper insights into the nature of reality. Once we have removed the influence of external opinions, we must approach our life's work with a new attitude, one of indifference. This does not mean we are apathetic or careless about our responsibilities, but rather that we maintain a steady, unwavering focus on our purpose, regardless of the nature of the work at hand. Whether the tasks before us are challenging or mundane, whether they are praised by others or go unnoticed, we perform them with the same level of commitment and detachment. This indifference is not to the quality of our work, but to the external recognition or reward that might come from it. We understand that the true measure of our work lies not in how it is perceived by others, but in how it aligns with our inner values and the pursuit of virtue. Central to this path is the continuous practice of virtue and the vigilant control of vice. Virtue is the compass that guides us on this journey, ensuring that our actions, thoughts, and decisions are always in harmony with our highest principles. To walk the path toward the mind of God, or to fully realize our human potential, we must consistently align ourselves with what is good, just, and true. This requires an unyielding commitment to self-discipline and a constant effort to keep our baser instincts and desires in check. Keeping vice in check means being aware of the temptations that can lead us astray: pride, greed, envy, and all other forms of moral weakness. It involves a daily conscious effort to rise above these impulses and to cultivate virtues such as humility, generosity, patience, and integrity. By doing so, we fortify our minds against the distractions and corruptions that can derail us from our higher purpose. In essence, the path to the divine mind, or to the highest potential of our own minds, is a path of continuous self-improvement and self-awareness. It is a journey that demands we look inward rather than outward, that we prioritize inner growth over external validation. As we walk this path, we gradually shed the layers of superficiality and illusion that the world imposes on us, revealing the true essence of our being. If you like what we do, feel free to do more and like and share the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, to the community.